Downey Jr., after a 5-year break, is returning to Marvel, but before he did that, he actually turned down Ryan Reynolds.
Actors are finally opening up about what it was really like working with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and the stories coming out are painting a far less polished picture than the public image suggests. From Robert Downey Jr. reportedly shutting Ryan down, to Deadpool's own creator Rob Liefeld walking away from Marvel in frustration, the accounts continue to stack up. Fellow A-list celebrities have openly criticized Ryan, and these are no longer just rumors. Marina Baccarin has now stepped forward to reveal exactly what happened on the Deadpool set that allegedly led to her being pushed out. And compared to T.J. Miller's past accusations, this new information takes things to an entirely different level. On top of that, shocking claims are emerging about the extreme measures Ryan allegedly took in an attempt to derail Justin Baldoni's career, revealing a level of ruthlessness many wouldn't expect. At this point, Hollywood's so-called golden couple is beginning to look less like a genuine power duo and more like a carefully constructed PR illusion, leaving one major question hanging in the air. How did they manage to get away with it for so long?
Ryan Reynolds was the leader in this. I believe that. I believe Ryan Reynolds was the leader and is the leader in everything that she does. So should we be compassionate? And the answer is no, my friends. We obviously should not be compassionate. That's not how this works, okay? When you get caught doing something that is purely evil, the task is not on the people who caught you doing that thing to extend forgiveness to you when you have not asked.
As previously mentioned, Robert Downey Jr. reportedly wanted nothing to do with Ryan Reynolds' plans, and the reason may be more revealing than it seems. According to sources, after Ryan assumed full creative control over Deadpool and Wolverine, he set out to pack the film with major cameo appearances, and few names would be a bigger statement than Iron Man himself. When Ryan allegedly reached out to Robert Downey Jr. about reprising Tony Stark for a cameo, RDJ shut the idea down immediately. As reported by Variety and discussed by co-writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick in an IndieWire interview, Downey was formally approached but flatly declined. While it may appear to be a simple refusal on the surface, insiders claim there was far more behind it, suggesting RDJ sensed something off about Ryan's approach and was already aware of how he treated others in the industry. He reportedly didn't even entertain the idea, choosing to avoid what he saw as a potential disaster. By that point, chaos on the Deadpool set was already well known, with original director Tim Miller exiting the project over creative differences with Ryan. Hollywood insiders say Ryan's allegedly toxic behavior had been quietly discussed for years, and Downey was not about to step into a volatile situation. Known for seeing through manufactured hype and aggressive self-promotion, RDJ allegedly recognized the red flags and chose to walk away, plain and simple. The role was never meant to be an afterthought, as the writers had carefully crafted an entire scene around Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau that would have fit seamlessly into the Avengers timeline, positioning Downey's character to appear before Infinity War. Despite the detailed planning, Downey reportedly walked away without hesitation. Paul Wernick later told IndieWire, "We wanted him to do a cameo. We had written that scene with Happy and Downey in mind. And in doing so, the Deadpool and Wolverine co-writers may have unintentionally revealed more about Ryan Reynolds' involvement." Rhett Reese admitted that Ryan personally helped write the scene alongside them in hopes of landing Downey, reinforcing the idea that Ryan consistently inserts himself at the center of attention. While the screenwriters were simply doing their jobs, insiders say Ryan's agenda was clear. He knew that securing Iron Man would dominate headlines and frame the moment as Ryan Reynolds got Iron Man into Deadpool. At the time, the situation was brushed aside with claims that Downey had simply declined, but the writer's perspective appears to have shifted, especially now that Downey is returning to Marvel in a completely different role as Dr. Doom. No one on the Deadpool and Wolverine team anticipated that twist, yet to outsiders, it's becoming clear that RDJ likely wasn't choosing sides so much as choosing distance, seemingly guided by a sharp instinct for avoiding high-profile drama, an instinct he has shown before when navigating other controversial Hollywood disputes. Recognizing the familiar dynamics of power and manipulation, Robert Downey Jr. likely saw what was unfolding on the Deadpool set and chose to steer clear, a decision that speaks volumes. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds has continued to double down on juvenile, shock value humor, a style critics say reflects a desire to flex creative control rather than show respect for cast, crew, or collaborators. In the end, RDJ's choice to walk away says it all, as even Hollywood legends know when a situation is too chaotic to risk. What Ryan may have viewed as a potential masterstroke, bringing Iron Man into his film, may instead have been derailed by his growing reputation for creating disorder, costing him one of the biggest cameos imaginable. Insiders are watching closely as the fallout continues, noting that Downey's name carries serious weight and commands respect, earned through one of Hollywood's most celebrated comeback stories. Although the Deadpool team managed to quietly move past the RDJ situation, there's no easy way to spin why Deadpool's own creator, Rob Liefeld, ultimately walked away from Marvel altogether, citing mistreatment. If Ryan were truly as easy to work with as portrayed, critics ask, why would the man who created Deadpool decide he was done? While Liefeld's exit wasn't solely about Ryan Reynolds, it's difficult to ignore the influence Ryan reportedly had on the situation, a point later highlighted in coverage by Variety. In a February 6, 2025 article titled "Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld vows to cut ties with Marvel after Deadpool and Wolverine premiere issues," it was reported that Liefeld officially severed his relationship with the studio after he and his family were excluded from Disney's after-party following the previous July's premiere, a move that immediately raised eyebrows. The situation feels uncomfortably familiar, leading some to question whether Blake Lively may have taken inspiration from this playbook when Justin Baldoni and his family were reportedly shut out of similar events. Liefeld's grievances didn't stop there, as he also spoke out about the placement of creditor credits and what he perceived as disrespect from Marvel chief Kevin Feige. Despite attending the Lincoln Center screening in Manhattan and posing on the red carpet with the Deadpool and Wolverine creative team, Liefeld later discovered that his photos had been deleted and never reposted. This chilling treatment mirrors what allegedly happened to Marina Baccarin after the first Deadpool, when she was excluded from the sequel following reported disagreements with Ryan Reynolds, appearing alone on the red carpet without a single official photo alongside the cast or crew. Now, the pattern appears even more disturbing, as the very creator of the Deadpool franchise was subjected to the same cold shoulder, with no after-party invite, no inclusion.
After you, he infests himself into every area of your life. And he did this Justin Baldoni. He's like, who are your friends? Okay. Who owns the production company? Who owns the next movie script? I am going to infest myself everywhere. I'm going to be doing your movie premiere. I'm going to be doing promos and making fun.
Liefeld later revealed that his experience at the New York City premiere was deliberately designed to embarrass, diminish, and push him out, explaining on a recent episode of his Robservations podcast that his representatives tried to get his family into the after-party, only to be denied by Disney's publicity team. According to Liefeld, Disney made the final call, bluntly telling him, "You and your family are not welcome here. We tolerate you for the screening," a moment he says made it clear he could not continue his relationship with Marvel. While Marvel has no shortage of controversies, critics argue Ryan Reynolds cannot be separated from this situation, as it unfolded within Deadpool, the franchise he publicly represents and creatively controls. Liefeld reaching his breaking point on this very project speaks volumes, especially amid reports that Reynolds had taken over creative control and fostered a toxic set environment, raising questions about how such behavior could persist without studio alignment. Notably, there is no indication Reynolds attempted to ease tensions or make positive changes, and instead, similar tactics of sidelining or punishing dissenters appear to have resurfaced on other projects, most notably It Ends With Us. Reports allege that Reynolds inserted himself into Blake Lively's film not merely as support, but with the apparent goal of pushing Justin Baldoni out, with one article claiming that during the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere afterparty, Wayfarer Studios learned Reynolds had approached a senior WME executive to express hostility toward Baldoni. Shortly after Blake's legal filings, WME reportedly dropped Baldoni as a client, fueling concerns about the extent of Reynolds' influence. Together, these incidents highlight how Reynolds' comedic public persona may mask an extraordinary level of Hollywood power, where personal vendettas, professional leverage, and legal maneuvering blur together, revealing a consistent pattern of using clout to control outcomes, one that fans and insiders are increasingly questioning as the polished image on screen gives way to a far more calculated reality behind the scenes.